Welcome back, beautiful souls. If you're new here, I'm Renee. Hey, your manifesting mentor. I'm not a coach, I'm not a guru, but I'm a woman who walks the walk and who shares what works. And we've been reading Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza together, chapter by chapter. And we're now in the final chapter, chapter 14, where we get to see just how limitless this work really is through real life case studies. So, this next story is titled Donna Helps Souls Cross Over. And Donna was just a regular woman doing this work, committed to meditating. And over time, something surprising began to happen. While in meditation, I believe at a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop, we'll get into that in this section, she found herself guiding souls who had passed on by helping them find peace and cross into the next dimension. I know, you heard it right. So Donna didn't consider herself special, but her heart was wide open and her presence became a channel for peace and transition because you never know how the divine is going to use you. But let's go ahead and read her story in Dr. Joe's own words. Donna helps souls cross over. When Donna attended her first weekend workshop in 2014 in Long Beach, California, she never would have called herself she never would have called herself a meditator. She only meditated a handful of times before. A technical writer, she had a very analytical mind, but that's the beauty of this work. When you have no expectations, you are often more open to wherever the experience takes you. So she was totally taken by surprise when at some point during one of her meditations that weekend, she slipped out of her everyday consciousness and found herself surrounded by hundreds of interdimensional beings. They weren't angry or malevolent, she told me, but it was very clear to me that they wanted something from me. Some of them were fairly young, like 12 or 13. I knew immediately that they were people my fiance had killed. Donna was engaged to a former United States Army Ranger, and during his service in Iraq, he'd been a sniper. When Donna returned home from the workshop and told her fiance about her experience, he confirmed that some of the people he killed to protect his fellow soldiers were quite young. Oh my God. While she found the connection curious and fascinating, she didn't know what to do with the information. But there was no question in her mind that the experience was real because it was beyond anything she could have simply conjured. 2 years earlier, Donna had was at an advanced workshop in Carefree, Arizona. After completing the first meditation, she turned to a friend sitting next to her and said in a daze, without even being aware of what she was saying, "There are beings in this room, and they are here to help us." Early Sunday morning, for the pineal gland meditation, Donna was slated to have her brain scanned. Once again, at some point during the meditation, Donna found herself suddenly in the company of the same interdimensional beings who had surrounded her during her first workshop 2 years earlier. But this time they were standing in a line off to her right. Again, I felt like they wanted something from me, but didn't know what it was, she said. Then, in my mind's eye, as though I was looking through a virtual reality headset, I saw another line forming on my left. There were two types of beings in this line. One type looked human-like, but they were very large and had shimmering golden look. And the other type seemed to have a blue hue to them. She innately knew that if she took the people who were killed by her fiance in the war, who were lined up on the right, and gave them to the beings on the left, the people on the right would receive what they needed because the people who had been killed by sniper fire had died so suddenly without any warning. Some were confused about whether they were alive or dead. Some weren't sure where to go or what to do, while others were trying to stay in this dimension because they were attached to their loved ones and couldn't move on. They were stuck in between matter and light. Yet somehow they recognized that Donna was the bridge or the facilitator who could help them cross over. And it was all happening in a very real, very lucid experience. Oh, y'all, this reminds me of that movie Interstellar. I don't know if you guys have ever saw that movie, but go look it up. It's worth watching because it's about this astronaut who gets stuck between dimensions. He didn't die per se, but it's an interesting journey. This reminds me of that. They were stuck in between matter and light, and yet somehow they recognized that Donna was the bridge or the facilitator who could help them cross over. And it was all happening in a very real, very lucid experience. To say I had to say I handed them over to other beings is not quite right, she explained. But it was something like me passing them over. It's really beyond language, but when they passed to the other side, it seemed like they passed through the other beings. And then I could see them running across a field of waist high red mist. I could feel all the freedom, joy, happiness they were experiencing as they ran across this field. Again, as if looking through a virtual reality headset, Donna turned to the right in her mind's eye and saw a winding dirt road filled with people stretching far into the distance. She sensed they were from Bosnia and Serbia, which she couldn't quite make sense of. It felt almost as if the word got out. I didn't have the sense that they were unaware that they were dead. It was more like they were stuck in limbo. They didn't know how to get to the other side. This was the longest meditation of the workshop, perhaps 2 to 3 hours, but to Donna, it seemed like it was 10 minutes. Very interesting. Donna attended another advanced workshop in Cancun in the fall of 2016. This time, when I asked the students to surrender their consciousness to merge with the consciousness of the unified field, Donna had the experience of becoming the universe. She went from the consciousness of somebody, something, someone, somewhere, and sometime to the consciousness of nobody, no thing, no one, nowhere, in no time, to the consciousness of everybody, everything, everyone, everywhere, in every time. In the instant her consciousness connected with the unified field, the field of information that governs the laws and forces of the universe, she became the universe. She was in bliss. Since that experience, my life has become magical and I'm experiencing a new energy and vitality like never before, she reported. I keep having one powerful experience after another, and I can never go back to the way my life was before starting to practice this work. Donna's experience. I don't know what to think about Donna's experience. But if that moved you in any way, none of this is about being gifted or chosen. It's about showing up, being coherent, returning to your heart over and over again. And every case study in chapter 14 proves that this work is not just about healing the body, it's about awakening the soul and unlocking the supernatural in your everyday life. So many different people have different gifts. There are people who are psychic, people who have premonitions, all sorts of things. Long before they do this work, when I was younger, I used to have dreams that were more like premonitions, and I haven't had those in a long time. I don't necessarily miss having those, but if they're a part of my purpose in any way, I'm open, right? Um, but I'm also starting to understand that every soul came here for something different. So while we're reading these case studies, I want us to keep in mind that the divine will never place on us anything that freaks us out or makes us afraid of divine encounters or experiences. These people who have had these very supernatural experiences, if you note, all of them have this thing in common where they're not afraid. They don't question in the sense of saying, this is weird, I'm not doing this anymore. As a matter of fact, they run towards it because it feels more like home, like wholeness to them. So if none of this appeals to you, which some of it don't appeal to me, like Donna's experience, I don't want to be visited by the dead. I'm sorry. That's just not in me. Like God used me for something else, but not that. Okay. But, anyways, God bless Donna and these souls that were able to cross over. But I just want you to keep a subjective mind in the sense that whatever doesn't resonate for you is not for you. But it does not mean that you can't be supernatural and that you can't be used by the divine in a way that's beyond your five senses and our understanding of this reality. Anyways, if you missed any parts of this series, you can binge the full Becoming Supernatural playlist here on YouTube. It's linked right here on my profile. It's also on my TikTok bio. And as we move beyond the book, make sure that you're signed up for my newsletter so we can stay connected. When you subscribe, you'll get a free download of 7 Thoughts to Unshakable Faith to help you stay grounded, powerful, and aligned with the future that you are calling in. It's also linked here on my profile on YouTube and in my TikTok bio. And as always, stay supernatural. I'm getting into part 4, which is Jerry returns from the brink of death. So I'm thinking we're getting like a near death experience here. But we'll find out. Stay tuned for part 4 coming up next.